Welcome back to the Sustainability Compass podcast, where we explore the ways in which we can create a more sustainable and equitable future. Today, we have with us Lokesh Bora to discuss how India can achieve net zero carbon neutrality. Lokesh, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Can you tell us what net zero carbon neutrality means and why it's important for India to achieve this goal?
Thank you for having me, Arjun. Net zero carbon neutrality refers to the balance between the amount of carbon emissions produced and the amount of carbon emissions removed from the atmosphere. It's important for India to achieve this goal because reducing carbon emissions is critical for addressing the impacts of climate change, such as sea level rise, extreme weather events, and loss of biodiversity. Additionally, transitioning to a low carbon economy can bring numerous economic benefits, including the creation of new jobs and improved energy security.
That's really insightful. Can you talk about the current state of India's energy mix and what steps are being taken to move towards a more sustainable energy mix?
Currently, India's energy mix is dominated by fossil fuels, particularly coal. However, there's a growing trend towards renewable energy, particularly solar and wind energy. The government is taking several steps to promote the adoption of renewable energy. This includes the development of large-scale renewable energy projects, the implementation of policies to support renewable energy development, and the creation of financial incentives for companies to invest in renewable energy. Additionally, there's a growing trend towards energy efficiency and the use of energy-efficient technologies, which can help to reduce energy consumption and carbon emissions.
That's really encouraging to hear. Can you talk about some of the specific measures that India can take to achieve net zero carbon neutrality, and what role the private sector can play in this transition?
To achieve net zero carbon neutrality, India can take a number of measures, including first, rapidly scaling up the use of renewable energy, particularly solar and wind energy. Secondly, promoting energy efficiency through the adoption of energy-efficient technologies and practices. Third, encouraging the use of electric vehicles, particularly in the transportation sector. Fourth, investing in carbon capture, utilization, and storage technologies to reduce carbon emissions from industries and power plants. Fifth, supporting the development of new low-carbon technologies, such as hydrogen fuel cells. The private sector can play a crucial role in this transition by investing in renewable energy and energy-efficient technologies, developing low-carbon products and services, and incorporating sustainable practices into their operations. Additionally, the private sector can advocate for policies that support the transition to a low-carbon economy and engage with stakeholders to build support for these policies.
That's really informative. What role do you see for the government in supporting the transition to a low-carbon economy, and what policies can be put in place to support this transition?
I agree, and that the government has a critical role to play in supporting the transition to a low-carbon economy. This includes, firstly, implementing policies and regulations to promote the use of renewable energy and energy-efficient technologies. Second, providing financial incentives and subsidies to support the development of renewable energy and energy-efficient technologies. Third, encouraging the development of low-carbon infrastructure, such as electric vehicle charging stations. Fourth, supporting research and development of new low-carbon technologies and investing in innovation to drive the transition to a low-carbon economy. Fifth, working with the private sector and civil society to raise awareness about the benefits of a low-carbon economy and build support for this transition. 6. Establishing a long-term plan for achieving net zero carbon neutrality with clear targets and timelines and monitoring progress towards this goal. 7. Engaging with international partners and participating in global efforts to address climate change and transition to a low-carbon economy.
That's really comprehensive. What challenges do you see in achieving net zero carbon neutrality in India, and how can these challenges be addressed?
There are several challenges in achieving net zero carbon neutrality in India, including 1. The high cost of renewable energy and energy-efficient technologies, particularly for those who are economically vulnerable. 2. The need to build public support and understanding for the transition to a low-carbon economy. 3. The need to overcome regulatory and technological barriers, particularly in the transportation and industrial sectors. 4. The need for investment in new low-carbon technologies and infrastructure. To address these challenges, India can 1. Implement policies to ensure that the benefits of the transition to a low-carbon economy are shared equitably, particularly for those who are economically vulnerable. 2. Engage with stakeholders, including the private sector, civil society, and the public, to build support for the transition to a low carbon economy. Third and fourth, as stated earlier, invest in research, development to develop new low carbon technologies. Also, establish partnerships and collaborations with international partners to share best practices and technologies to address common challenges.
That's really useful. Lokesh, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights on how India can achieve net zero carbon neutrality. It's been a great pleasure having you with us.
Thank you, Arjun. It's been a pleasure to be here and share my thoughts on this important topic.